Thanks again for joining us on What Matters This Week. I am here with Michael D. Smith, who is the CEO of AmeriCorps. Sir, I appreciate you joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me. This is a wonderful opportunity.
And you are here because literally just days ago, you were in Burlington checking out the wonderful things that AmeriCorps volunteers are doing here. So my first question to you is, what did you think of our wonderful state?
Well, first of all, I am from New England. I'm from Massachusetts, so it was good to be close to home again in beautiful New England. It is not only a breathtaking state, but the people are so extraordinary. And I got a chance to meet with what I think makes Burlington tick, what makes the state tick, which is people that value community, that believe that their neighbors' children are their children as well. And it was just a joy to be able to spend time with folks that are devoting their lives to service.
That said, for those who don't know, what is AmeriCorps?
AmeriCorps is the federal agency for volunteering and service. We turned 30 years old next year. We were started in 1993. And the idea behind it was, how could we combine people power, people that wanted to give back to their community in a consistent, ongoing way, to be a force multiplier to tackle some of the biggest challenges that communities are facing. And so today, there are more than 250,000 AmeriCorps members and senior volunteers touching all 50 states and U.S. territories, 40,000 locations, and we actually have more than 1.2 million alumni. So chances are, if there is a problem that is happening in a community and good people are coming together to do something about it, AmeriCorps members are there.
And is it still accurate that Vermont is number 5 for having so many AmeriCorps volunteers per capita?
I believe so. We'll have to go back and double check the data, but I know that Vermont has an extraordinary spirit of service that we've been delighted to promote in the past.
And you met with so many people last week, as we said, doing great things for this state. What surprised you, maybe inspired you about the programs here and the work that they're doing?
You know, I think what's really great is what's happening with AmeriCorps in Vermont, in the Burlington area, is you have AmeriCorps members that are both meeting a need that the community is facing right now. So you have AmeriCorps members that are working on food issues. You have AmeriCorps members that are working on education issues. So not only are they meeting a need, but they're also changing their paths. I met AmeriCorps members that started as AmeriCorps members, then went into jobs in the nonprofit sector, doing work in housing, doing work at some of your local museums. I also met AmeriCorps members who started as, AmeriCorps senior volunteers, and now are helping to run some of those programs. And so it was just wonderful to see that mix on how we are making a difference on the challenges today, while also, I think, transforming and enhancing people's lives.
And when it comes to the different programs, is there something that Vermont has that really stood out, possibly above the rest to you?
You know, you're asking me to choose my favorite children. I love all my children equally. But you know what I think was great about Vermont, and what's wonderful about AmeriCorps, is Washington is not making, I'm not sitting here in Washington deciding what's needed in Burlington or across Vermont. It's really the community coming together with our partners that serve Vermont and our local community partners who are deciding what's needed. So you have the Champlain Housing Trust, that's one of our partners, that's working on, we've got some housing issues that are taking place in Burlington. So we've got AmeriCorps members that are helping with building and making sure that there's housing. We work with the Vermont Housing and Conservation Board that's working on food security issues and farming. That was something that was very important. And also looking at how that connects to the rural communities throughout Vermont. We also met with our AmeriCorps senior programs, where I actually participated in the Bone Builders course, which is helping seniors make sure they stay strong and healthy in their older years. But also what I heard from those seniors is it was keeping them connected, especially at times where they were more and more disconnected.
You also gave remarks on equity and the barriers to national service. Why did this message need to be given, or why was it worth giving?
So as I mentioned, AmeriCorps does a lot of our work in partnership with our state service commission. So there's Serve Vermont, which is an extraordinary state service commission. And actually they were hosting folks from all over this region, all of our other state partners that are in this region. And so we were having a conversation about what the next generation of AmeriCorps looks like. And what is so important is we just have to make sure that AmeriCorps reflects the rich diversity of our country and the communities that they serve. And if we're going to do that, if we're going to reflect the rich diversity, we have to think about what are some of the barriers that are in their way. So AmeriCorps members that serve full time, they get a stipend. Is our stipend large enough? Do we have housing so that you can actually devote a year of your life to serve? What are the pathways? Is this going to be a one-off service experience, or is it going to help you get in school and stay in school? Is it going to help you find your first job, or if you're one of our seniors, to do a career transition or keep you connected? So we have to think about what those barriers are and making sure that we're addressing them.
Are there concerns right now that possibly have changed or evolved over the past few years because obvious lifestyle issues?
Well, you know, what's been really interesting during this pandemic, people ask me what happened to AmeriCorps during the pandemic, and I am proud to report nothing happened. We stayed there. We are a part of the communities that we are in the community. So when schools had to decide if they were shutting down, AmeriCorps members were right there. And just like educators were teaching virtually, our AmeriCorps members were teaching virtually. If we decided that there were needs that were happening with some of our programs around climate or weatherization, and they still needed to be out in the community to do that work, they were doing that. If we found that seniors were no longer able to come out and get a meal at a certain place, then they transitioned to making sure that they were delivering those meals. So we were a part of that community. What we have seen over the past couple of years, just like everyone else that's hiring, we are having some recruitment challenges right now. You know, whenever the unemployment rate is low, and I think we've had so many conversations about the Great Resignation, we are working really hard to make sure people understand the transformative experience that AmeriCorps is, to make sure that we're continuing to recruit more and more folks that can serve in Vermont and make a difference in their community.
Can you explain to our viewers how volunteerism can take on so many different forms?
You know, the power of services is extraordinary, and there's not a challenge. You know, we have AmeriCorps members that are working alongside hospitals to relieve some of the pressure from medical professionals to help with testing and vaccination. We have AmeriCorps members that are helping in early childhood settings or in K through 12 settings to help educators there. We have AmeriCorps members that are working in farms to help on food issues. We have AmeriCorps members that are working in food pantries. We have AmeriCorps members that are working in public health settings. We actually just launched Public Health AmeriCorps, which is a $400 million partnership with the Center for Disease Control, where we are not only going to make sure that we have AmeriCorps members that are working on public health issues, but we're making sure that we're building the next generation of public health workers that are from underserved communities. So if there is a need you have, if there's a passion that you have, if you want to give back, AmeriCorps is a way to do that on whatever it is, that issue that you care about.
When you talk to alumni and those who may have been involved years ago, what are the stories they tell you about the work they did? And then how can that maybe translate into getting some more volunteers signed up to help out in any state?
You know, what we hear from our alumni is we hear that it is a transformative experience. We hear people who thought that they were going to go into a certain career and they tried it out and they didn't like it. We hear from other AmeriCorps members that tried it out and now, you know, they started working for a public health program and now they're a doctor. We also have seen from our programs that you're more likely to get a job as an AmeriCorps member. We actually have something called Employers of National Service, where we have more than 600 employers that provide recruitment and hiring preferences for AmeriCorps members. And so we are seeing that it's transformative. And what is so exciting is we have AmeriCorps members everywhere. We have AmeriCorps members that are members of Congress, that are working in the White House, that are working in corporate boardrooms, that are working in nonprofits. We have seen so many of our programs where people start in AmeriCorps programs working in schools where they stay in the school or they stay in jobs that are broadly in the academic sector or in administration. So what we have seen from our 1.2 million AmeriCorps alumni is they tend to stay giving back, whether that's in a full-time job or what they do after 5 as well.
Well, I appreciate your time, and I think many people would hope that you return to our beautiful state here in Vermont sometime soon. Thank you very much, Michael.
Thank you so much. I can't wait to get back to Vermont. And if you are looking for a way to serve, please go to AmeriCorps.gov to find out how you can get things done for America.
Appreciate the pitch. Thank you.
Thank you.